Hello everybody and welcome to our first ever episode of Destiny Island's Top 10. As fans of the Kingdom Hearts series, the whole reason we're here to begin with is because of the games. Therefore, we thought it only appropriate to start things off with our list of the top 10 games in the Kingdom Hearts series. Number 10, 358 Days Over 2.
It's been that many days since I first joined the organization.
When I first heard that there was going to be a game entirely dedicated to Roxas, one of my favorite characters ever, I was absolutely on board. Ever since their introduction back in Chain of Memories, I had been curious about the mysterious organization and wanted to know more about their goals and, more importantly, the backstories of its members. Sadly, 358 Days Over 2 didn't meet all of my expectations, which is why it rests at the bottom of our list. While playing as Roxas during the time between first Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 sounded extremely promising, the actual finished game fell flat in oh so many ways. The game's controls were clunky, the camera fought against you every step of the way, and the graphics were just not up to par with what I know Square Enix to be capable of, even for a handheld.
What a joke.
Number 9, Birth by Sleep Final Mix.
つながりをたどればいつかきっと元の世界に戻れる
Don't get me wrong, this game is still amazing and in my opinion one of the best in the entire series. Having said that, here's why Birth by Sleep Final Mix just didn't cut it for us. The only difference between this game and its original is the few extra features that Square Enix threw in this time around. And I stress the word few. As far as remakes in the Kingdom Hearts series go, Birth by Sleep Final Mix has the fewest additions to offer. A whopping 3 new battles, a bunch of recolored Unverse, and a few new missions just wasn't enough to bump this any higher on our list.
Exactly what I said, idiot.
Number 8, Kingdom Hearts.
All for one, one for all.
The original Kingdom Hearts game will always hold a special place in my heart for sheer nostalgia alone. It's what got me, and many others like me, into this franchise in the first place. However, nostalgia alone cannot absolve this game of all of its shortcomings, and there were honestly quite a few of them. As many of you may have guessed, the camera is this game's biggest setback. That, coupled with some very clunky and awkward combat, led to a lot of frustration over and over again.
You're stupid!
Number 7, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix is essentially the same game as Kingdom Hearts, which is why it didn't score much higher than its original predecessor. However, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, in addition to including several new features that the original lacked, fixed a lot of what was broken about the first game. The camera still fought with you every step of the way, but the lock-on system was vastly improved, and more importantly, so was the combat. With the addition of several new abilities like Sliding Dash and Stun Impact, Sora's combat skills went from pathetic to amazing pretty much instantly. It was a much needed and welcome improvement over the original. Number 6, Re-Chain of Memories.
But I really am glad that I can meet you, Sora.
As someone who absolutely loved the original Chain of Memories in all its pixelated glory, the step up to the PlayStation 2 was obviously welcomed. I know a lot of people out there weren't a big fan of Chain of Memories' card-based battle system, or having to essentially play through the entire first game again on a tiny little screen, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Re-Chain of Memories took everything I loved about the original Chain of Memories and made it so much better. The graphics are the most notable boost, though I have to admit they look less polished compared to Kingdom Hearts 2, which had come out before. You'd think they would have improved, but oh well. The controls were much improved, the game felt more open and explorable. And oh yes, voice acting. Sweet, glorious voice acting.
Where are you? Don't you dare hide from me! Show yourself!
Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against games in which you have to read everything, but when I can watch a game rather than read it, I'll take watching any day.
Sora. Thank you.
Number 5, Recoded.
And I think we know just the guy to do it. Am I right, fellas?
A lot of you might be surprised that this game made it so high up on our list. Many people often dismiss this title as the forgotten child in the Kingdom Hearts series that nobody wanted. And while its story is completely and utterly ridiculous, What it lacks in plot, it makes up for in sheer variety and fun. I'll admit playing through the same worlds and meeting the same characters again did not thrill me. Seriously, this is the third game in this series that I've had to play through the same version of Traverse Town. Mix it up a little, would you, Square? But just when you thought that this was going to be Chain of Memories all over again, Mix It Up is exactly what Square did. By taking these same worlds and locales that we had explored ad nauseum in previous games in the series, and adding new gameplay mechanics, like the side-scrolling in Traverse Town, or the endless runner in Wonderland, or the classic turn-based RPG setup in Olympus Coliseum, the all-too-familiar worlds felt almost brand new. The way in which Recoded kept you on your toes with how it was going to make you play next made it an enjoyable title, which is why it ranks at number 5 on our list.
Aha! We found Sora!
Number 4, Dream Drop Distance.
Which is why you, Sora and Riku, are to be tested for the mark of a true Keyblade master.
I couldn't wait to get my hands on this game. The gameplay looked so amazing, I was excited for many of the new worlds that were to be included, and I was most excited to see how the Kingdom Hearts saga was going to move forward from Kingdom Hearts 2. Then I actually played Dream Drop Distance, and while it is by far the most fun I've ever had with a Kingdom Hearts game, its combat made the game a little too simplistic for my tastes. Flow motion made it possible to leap across entire maps in a single jump, and you could pretty much defeat any enemy in the game, including bosses, by spamming the same attacks over and over again. That said, it was still really fun. But of course the downfall of this game is, you guessed it, the dreaded drop system. While I didn't really mind the idea of switching back and forth between Sora and Riku, it was exceptionally annoying when I was approaching the very end of a boss battle with Sora and all I had to do was land one more hit, and then suddenly I would switch to Riku and have to fight the entire boss all over again when play returned to Sora. It was an extremely frustrating feature that kept this game from reaching any higher on our countdown.
It can't be that simple.
Number 3, Kingdom Hearts 2.
Looks like my summer vacation is over.
The story, the gameplay, and the epic scale. It's hard for any fan of the Kingdom Hearts series to say that they didn't thoroughly enjoy Kingdom Hearts 2, and we certainly can't deny it either. Kingdom Hearts 2 took everything we loved about the original and then made it so much better. The combat was wonky in the first game, Kingdom Hearts 2 made it more fluid. The camera was impossible to control in the first game, Kingdom Hearts 2 made it easier. First game didn't have much of a post-game, Kingdom Hearts 2 had so much post-game it almost doubled the game's playtime. There was just so much improvement in Kingdom Hearts 2, it's hard not to love it. But if you ask us, the best part of Kingdom Hearts 2 was its longevity. The original Kingdom Hearts could have very easily stood alone as a solitary game rather than a springboard for a full franchise. While some could argue that Chain of Memories served as a turning point from solo game to series, I would argue that it was Kingdom Hearts 2 instead. Chain of Memories served to expand the universe of the franchise, sure, but Kingdom Hearts 2 took what the first game and Chain of Memories set up and ran with it for miles. Kingdom Hearts 2 set up the potential for a truly expansive and immersive plot that could span several installments of a fully fledged franchise, which is what puts Kingdom Hearts 2 at number 3 on our list.
Together we can stop them.
Number 2, Birth by Sleep.
An unbreakable connection.
The only game that maybe served to expand the Kingdom Hearts universe even more than Kingdom Hearts 2 would probably be Birth by Sleep. Set 10 whole years prior to the events of the first Kingdom Hearts, Birth by Sleep took questions set up by Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 and brought them full circle, as well as set up other plot points to be resolved later, allowing the franchise to continue for several more installments. As an individual game, Birth by Sleep is definitely a standout in the series, with its innovative combat mechanics and its immersive, compelling, character-driven story. Birth by Sleep marked a real turning point in the series in terms of what the franchise could be, and inspired many more experimental gameplay mechanics that would be implemented elsewhere in the series. Getting to play as multiple characters through an interconnected story was also highly enjoyable. Even though we had gotten to play as both Sora and Riku in Chain of Memories, it was much more satisfying to see how events in one character's story would affect events in another's in Birth by Sleep.
I've been looking forward to this.
seeing you two become masters.
Number 1, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. While other Final Mix games in the series serve to add a few new features to their original versions, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix is, in our opinion, the first Final Mix to truly justify the full remake. Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix just provided so much extra content, it almost feels like this is how Kingdom Hearts 2 was supposed to be all along, and that the original was incomplete by comparison. There was so much more to explore beyond the main story, even more so than the original Kingdom Hearts 2. The inclusion of additional side quests, mini-games, explorable areas, and some of the most challenging and tactical boss battles that the entire series has seen to date makes Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix an absolute must-play installment in the series, which is why it reigns at number 1 on our countdown. So that's it for our countdown of the top 10 games in the Kingdom Hearts series. If you liked what you saw here, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get alerts right when new episodes of Destiny Island's Top 10 come out. If you have an idea for a top 10 list you'd like to see us cover on the show, be sure to leave it in the comments below. Until next time, I'm OtherPromise13 from DestinyIslands.com, and this has been Destiny Island's Top 10.